All right. I'm just gonna wait about 30 seconds or so, let people trickle in, and then we'll start everything up. Just give it. I appreciate it, Joey. All right, we'll just give another like 15 seconds or so. All right. So first I'll kind of start by just showing you my I guess how I maneuver the website, where I look first to find my bets, and then just little I guess tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way that have helped me a lot in terms of finding profitable bets. So I think just like most people, start by going to the EV page, um, hit refresh, see what we got. Right, very basic, nothing special. So first, I start off. I really don't have any filters. Max odds here are 190. Usually, I'll bump it up to like 250 or so, but 190 feels pretty good. And when it shows when it shows plus 190, that means that's what the no vig line is. So let's just say there was a really good bet at like plus 210. It would still show up because the no vig line, let's say, would be under 190. So it'd still be good to go. So you wouldn't have to set it to like plus 250 if you know the no vig line can be plus 250 and it'll still show up even if the bet is like plus 280 or so. So I start off here. I don't take any of, so right now we got a lot of action on heat spread, but you'll see there's a lot of like player props, a lot of under half a hit, under 1.5 bases, stuff like that. I don't play any of those. I just don't like them. You can see that often the market or the width on those are very high. So I usually just try to stay away from those. I would never touch like the Adolis Garcia one or Bregman one or Chapman one. A good way to get rid of those, though, just turn on the recommended filters. It will filter all of those out. So usually I'll start by not having any filters on, just kind of see what the highest thing is, see what's hot, see if there's any ladder plays, put on the filters, and just see what we got. So I already locked this one in, already locked that one in. For props, I don't play too many props, especially when it comes to baseball, but I do like pitcher props a lot. And I mean, we can just look at this Tyon one. It's ridiculous. I mean, you see FanDuel's at minus 136. I don't know why, but FanDuel seems to be very sharp when it comes to pitcher strikeouts. So having them really favoring the under makes me feel very confident about taking the under. So I just go like this, just look at everything, see just pretty much what pops out, take those. But what I usually spend most of my time on is just filtering to main market only. So I exclude player props, and I'm just looking here. And I've mentioned this multiple times, but when it comes to main market, I go directly off of Pinnacle. Pinnacle is a European sports book. It's extremely sharp. It's really regarded as the sharpest sports book in the world. They take very little juice. I mean, often on main market plays, they're taking like 3.5%, where the lowest US book is really going to be taking 4.8%. If it's minus 110 on both sides, it correlates to a 4.8% VIG. So I'm just looking for plays where I have an edge off of Pinnacle. So we can look at this play right now. We've got, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but we've got them +1 Asian handicap. So to calculate the EV percentage manually, all you do is you open up the no vig fair odds calculator and the Kelly calculator. And and you're going to put Pinnacle's odds. So you're going to put minus 106 and minus 12. You're going to take the side that you would be taking, which is the minus 106 side. You plug it in there with the win percentage that you have and the odds that you're actually getting it at, which puts it at a 5.59% EV. See, it's a little bit different than the 3.94%. Doesn't really matter. It's both, like, obviously it's profitable. The percentage is slightly off, but it really doesn't matter too much. The biggest difference is the juice. Okay, look at DraftKings. Minus 125, minus 120, minus 120, plus 100. They're taking so much less juice. They're taking 18 cents a juice. They're taking 45 cents a juice. They're taking 20 cents a juice. So often when you're calculating these EV percentages, the difference, a simple flaw like calculating too much VIG could be the difference between showing up as a profitable play and a non-profitable play. And that's often the issue with main market, is that these lines are so sharp. The market width is so low, which means that the books are so confident in these bets that an extra 5 cents of juice could be the difference between it showing up as a positive bet versus a negative bet. Which is why I like to go off of Pinnacle, because they're so sharp and because they take the least amount of juice. It's the closest we're going to get to a true odds, fair odds, without removing the VIG. So that's kind of how I look at those. And I pretty much do that for everything. I want to try to find an example of a bet that I don't really like that much. So we can just look at this one. This is actually a very good example. So you can see that across the board, the odds should be about plus 165. Pinnacle's got it at 165, Barstool 165, DraftKings 165, FanDuel 164. Like they're pretty much all in agreement that it should be plus 165. We're getting it for plus 180. Looks pretty good, right? We're getting 15 cents of value compared to pretty much the next best book. And it shows up as a 1.78% EV. The only thing for me, at least, is that this is where there's discrepancies. It's in the other side, minus 215, minus 215, minus 205. Like if we wanted to go and look at the event page, okay, and we're looking at over 9.5. Okay, so let's just show the no VIG odds, or we'll show the VIG. That's actually more so what we're looking at. The VIG's not showing up for some reason. Whatever, we'll just manually do it. So if we wanted to go off of DraftKings, we'll go 165 and minus 205. And by the way, I mean, FanDuel's just taking even more VIG. But if we want to just go off of DraftKings, we got 165 and 205. So we got minus 165 and we've got 205. So the fair odds based off DraftKings is 189.91. We're getting it for, hang on one second, 165. Yeah. So we're getting it. It's not a good bet off of their line, but now you base it off of 165 and 189. Oh, I'm sorry. I reversed it. Okay. Hang on one second. There we go. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So right now, the fair odds are 178.11, which is the side we'd be taking. It's a couple cent edge, really nothing to call home about. You base it off of Pinnacle, which has it at 189. It's 173.3. That's a 7 cent edge. That's a very good bet. If we want to plug that in now to the Kelly calculator, we've got 182.45% edge. They have it at 1.78. Like I said, it's off by like a percent, the difference, but like I like to go off of Pinnacle because the difference between the juice is that edge. If we were to go based off of DraftKings line, we'll just put it back in 165 and 205 minus 205. We're looking at 35.96% hit rate. Now it's 0.69. That's the difference between me taking a bet based off of Pinnacle and me not taking a bet if I was basing it off of DraftKings. That's how much the VIG matters. Like I said, the odds that we're taking, the side that we're taking, the odds are the same. It's just the other side, the amount of VIG that they're taking is affecting the EV percentage. Hold on, Joey asked a question. Joe, I know you are limited on a ton of books. Are there a few books that you haven't limited you at all, and you can always get down solid amount? Yeah, no, there. I'm still fine. I mean, I use Superbook. Hard Rock's been good to me recently. I got like the typical Sharp email when I first started up, but I've just kind of stuck with Main Market now on their site, and I've been in the clear. Caesars is fine, WinBet's fine, DraftKings is fine, FanDuel's fine. DraftKings Main Market, FanDuel's fine. So I'm still pretty much in the clear on a lot of books. I still have plenty of the Kambi books still accessible to me. So the only one that I can't use that kind of stings is MGM, but I've kind of gotten over that by now. So back to here. That's pretty much what it is. That's why I like to calculate it manually, is just because of that juice. There's no way of getting around it. That's how the books make their money. But if you're basing it off a book where they're all in agreement that it should be. I keep on repeating this, but they are all in agreement that it should be about plus 165 on the over, except they're disagreeing on how much juice there should be on the under. But by going based off a book like Pinnacle, who takes the least amount of juice, it gives you a better idea of what the fair line should be, or like the fair odds on the line as a whole. So that's pretty much what I do for all my main market plays. I'm just going directly off of Pinnacle. It's really helped me. I've been able to have a ton of success with that. That's what I've been doing. I mean, that's what I did when I first started. Then I just it was ingrained in my head. And now recently I've been going back to that strategy where for every single play, I'm going directly off of what the Kelly Criterion calculator suggests. Scaling up, scaling down. It's all about now like optimal betting. You know, if you have a 5% edge, like, yeah, you could put 1 unit on it, but even if it suggests putting, let's say 2, but the thing is, like, it's optimal to put what they suggest because you're trying to maximize the times that you find that big edge. If you're only putting down a few bucks when you have that big edge, it's like you're almost selling yourself short. Now, obviously it could lose, but if you have a 5% edge, like, you know, you already assume like you won. And even though that's not the right thing to do, and I do that myself, it's just about capitalizing on those mistakes. You know, I posted a couple things today on Fliff about like the Ohtani strikeouts and the Taillon strikeouts. And, you know, usually with props, I'm kind of just chilling between like maybe 30 and 50 bucks, but Ohtani at 175 because it was a very high EV play. It actually suggested putting more, but I didn't really want to. So that's how I maneuver the positive EV page. It's super simple. Like I said, I just kind of take it a step above and calculate it myself based off Pinnacle. That's for main market only. Don't do that for props. The reason why Pinnacle is so sharp on main market is that they have such a large handle. They accept all action. Sharps, whales, they don't care. They're taking all the action, and they're so confident with their way of balancing these numbers and accepting this action that they have to be sharp. And that's the thing. Both player props, you know, on a main market play, they'll allow, you know, they'll accept $50,000 on a bet. On player props, they're taking like $250 max, $250 max. So their lines are clearly not as sharp on player props, and they're clearly not as confident. Hence the reason why they're taking so much less action than they would on a main market play. They also take a lot more VIG, so they're really not a great reference point or data point the same way they are for main market. So the next place I look is the arbitrage page. Now, I don't arbitrage personally. It's just, you know, I don't really care for it that much. Not saying it's not good or anything, because a lot of people have had a ton of success with it, but not really for me. The reason I go here, though, is because if there's an arbitrage opportunity, more times than not, or pretty much every single time, there's going to be a positive EV opportunity. So the nice thing also, though, with arbitrage is that sometimes, so in order for a play to go on the positive EV page, it needs to have enough data points. There needs to be enough books offering that line for them to pretty much justify it being positive EV. Well, the arbitrage, you don't need that. So this was more so for NBA kind of during the regular season, not as much recently, but you'd go on there and you'd see Barstool would be just off by like 2 points on like a PRA, and it wouldn't show up anywhere because the only other book having that PRA was FanDuel, because they have, you know, a ton of alts on every single line possible. So it wouldn't show up on the EV page because only 2 books, not enough to justify which one is right, which one's positive EV. However, you go to the ARB page, there was an ARB opportunity there. So then you go and you press, you know, view event page, and you can see where all the other books are pricing it at. And you can see, well, shoot, Barstool is just flat out wrong. So if I just want to take the minus odds, let's say it was minus 115. Minus 115, knowing that I'm getting 2 points better than any other sports book is offering, I'm taking the under. Or you can just ARB out. You can hedge it with the FanDuel alt, and you call it a day. But like I said, that's not going to show up on the EV page, but it would show up on the arbitrage page. So that's why I would always spend a lot of time here too. Definitely not as much as the EV page, but I would just scroll through it, see what's going on, see if anything really catches my eye, because I was able to find a ton of those alts, especially like right before the game, towards the end of the NBA season, when no one knew what was going on with these books. Like no one knew what was going on with these games. Last second injuries, last second benches. I mean, just everything was a mess. So we covered now EV page, arbitrage page. Now, my favorite, I've made a video about this. It really is my favorite by far, but it's the low hold page. The reason I like it so much is because, like I said, when it comes to main market, I base all of my bets off of Pinnacle's line. So the whole concept or the whole reason why the low hold page is even a thing is to help with those rollover bonuses. But you can see that like they're giving you bets where the odds are they're the same numbers, just inverted, because ideally with low holds, you're just trying to help with those rollovers. So you can find bets where if you place, for example, here 105 on the over and 100 on the under, you wouldn't win anything, you wouldn't lose anything, but you could help with those rollover bonuses. Because I'm basing everything off of Pinnacle, I really like it. Take a look at this one right here. Okay, we got Laszlo Djere against Casper Ruud. This is a bet I'm all over. This is tennis. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of tennis bets. But look at this. Every book is pricing this at about minus 110. Two sharp books right here. They're pricing it at, they're favoring the over. That's all I need to see. So now I can just go plug in, let's say minus 112 and plus 100. It's just going to be this times like this number, 1.38 times 2, but we'll still put it in at plus 100. 2.76. Right there, we just found an edge, a 2.76% edge directly off of Pinnacle on a bet that you're not going to find anywhere else. And the reason is because they're pretty much, for the most part, these books are pretty much pricing these around the same. They're just taking a lot of VIG. I mean, minus 120 on each side is crazy. 30 cents a VIG, 35 cents a VIG, 40 cents a VIG. This is the lowest at 20 cents a VIG, for the books that I have here in Arizona. But you see where Pinnacle is leaning, and they're leaning towards the over. So this is a bet that I would put just about 2.5% of my bankroll. So let's call it like a $50 bet or so. I feel pretty comfortable with that one. So for anyone watching that wants a tennis bet, I really like the Casper Ruud Djere or whatever it is over 22.5 games for the match that starts early tomorrow morning. Same thing with here, right? We got direct low holds to Pinnacle. Yankees, Blue Jays under 9, minus 122. We want to calculate that again. We can go minus 137 plus 122. This is a 56.2% hit rate. We're grabbing it at minus 122. There we go. 2.27%. Put about 2.76% of your bankroll. Round up, round down. That doesn't matter. The point is, there's these little hidden gems that aren't showing up in other places because the VIG from all these US books are almost saturated. Like they're messing up the average odds. But by going off a Pinnacle that has a very strong reputation, it's worked for me. And I've done this for, I feel like, it's got to be thousands of bets by now. And it works all the time. Obviously I'm not going to win every bet, but I'm putting myself in the direction to have the most success. And it's happened a lot. I do this now I don't know if they're as sharp with team totals, so I don't give as much weight, but I still kind of follow the same idea because, like I said, they take so much less juice. That is huge. Comparing, no other book. The closest is Caesars at minus 125, but it's a 3 cent edge on the under or on the over. It's a 9 cent edge on the under. That's huge, especially when we're talking about a few cent edge being the difference between a good bet and a bad bet. Having a 9 cent edge is a pretty big deal. But that's pretty much, that's how I look through stuff. It's definitely not rocket science. Okay. I'm not this like math genius by any means. It's just reading numbers. It's just looking at these things, spotting outliers. I like to call it like line shopping on steroids because yes, you're finding odds discrepancies, but line shopping could be as simple as taking a minus 110 at minus 105 on one book, but that's not enough to negate the VIG. Negating the VIG is finding a minus 110 and taking it at plus 105. So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest difference. But it works. That's the crazy thing is like when I first started, if you told me that, you could use math to find profitable sports bets, I'd say you're crazy. Like I didn't even know what that meant. I thought it was like, picking winners, not picking bets because of the odds. But it really makes sense. It's just a supply and demand market. As more money comes in one direction, the odds change to balance out on the other side. And it's all about, picking off these stale lines. Another reason why we talk so much about having as many sports books as possible is because you never know, when you're going to need one on Fliff or you're going to need one on Barstool, you're going to need one on, MGM or Superbook, or it doesn't matter. The point is that there's always stuff that's popping up on all these different books. And by only having 2 or 3 books, you're selling yourself short. And I know that there's certain books like FanDuel that people have like loyalty to, just because they're great. They give a lot of free bets, a lot of deposit matches, just a lot of ways to kind of get you in. But it's really crucial to have at least some type of money. I would say at least maybe 5 bets worth in each book, just because you never know when there's going to be a hot day. I mean, there's some times where it feels like WinBet is just, they've got bets for days. I mean, we're talking like 20 bets on the EV page, and there's other times where they're just completely dry. Like I won't find something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I always keep money in there because you never know when something's good's going to pop up. I mean, I'll leave the floor to you guys. I kind of said everything I wanted to say. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. We're about 21 minutes in, so nothing too crazy. But yeah, let's see. Jonathan said, I've had good luck with the arbitrage page finding soccer DFS edges. My book in particular, it seems to be a wide range. Some plus money or most are minus. So soccer is a little bit of a weird one, and I'd suggest for anyone that does do soccer, like shots on goal, looking at the terms and conditions for these sports books, because some of them have it where, like I know Underdog, if the player doesn't start, the bet gets voided. And I don't know, I haven't bet soccer shots on goal on the books before, so I couldn't tell you for sure from one book to another. But I know that Underdog, for example, it'll only be valid if the player starts. So there's that. Andre, can we lock in some more plays on FanDuel and DraftKings? Yeah, we can look for sure. Let me just filter it out so we only see those. I'm telling you, at night, it'll be like 8, 9 p.m. and I will just look for I'll just filter for tennis. Like it's addicting just waking up to having tennis bets, going to sleep, having like a 3 a.m. just random tennis match that you literally can't watch anywhere. And then you wake up and you're like a hit. It's like, that's awesome. And the thing is, I don't know anything about these tennis guys, like these tennis players. I don't know anything about, especially some of these, like, I mean, I'm betting some really, really like not good quality tennis. I'm not betting Djokovic. I'm not betting like Iga Swiatek. I'm betting some girl in like the 300s. And I'm like, it doesn't even matter, but there's an edge and it works out the vast majority of the time. All right. Enough rambling. Let's go find some FanDuel and DraftKings bets. So I already locked in a few for tomorrow's baseball games. Andre, I would definitely suggest locking this one in. Yankees, Blue Jays under 9. That one is definitely moving to 8.5, if not 8. I can assure you that. Look at where all the other books are at. I'm sure if we clicked on here, DraftKings would already be 8.5. But let's just see if I'm right. While that loads, just look here. I already locked this one in, posted it earlier. It's still minus 110, but you can kind of see where every other book is at. Definitely trending in the over direction. But for me, I go everything off of Pinnacle, but Pinnacle still likes it. So this is a good example of how much juice these books take versus Pinnacle. Caesars, a very credible book, right? A book that has a great reputation. I'm a big fan of Caesars, got a great rewards program, all that. 37 cents a juice. Pinnacle, 13 cents a juice. It's crazy. Okay. Yeah, so you can see DraftKings are already at 8.5. All these books are already there, and the difference between 8.5 and 9 is a big number, just because of the fact that it could be like 4-4, final score is 5-4, you push versus a loss. That's happened to me plenty of times where I've pushed instead of lost because I caught a good line, and even though it kind of sucks, then you have to be like, okay, like, we could work with that. I had under 203.5 in the Celtics Sixers game yesterday, and I was already expecting it to be a half point win or lose, maybe a point at best, because the line closed closer to like 201, I think it was. So I knew it was going to come down. It ended up going under everything because the final score was 200, but I was sweating for sure. So back to looking for bets. So we got Royals, Padres over. We've got Yankees, Blue Jays under. You can take the D'Lo prop, but I'm not. If you guys want this for today, FanDuel's the Connor Seabold under 3.5 Ks -1 or plus 110. I know John Hyslop's not going to like this one because he already has the over, which he got at a pretty good line, a really good line actually. But right now there is pretty good value on the under here, considering all of these books are kind of suggesting it should be a pick'em or close to a pick'em. So grabbing it at plus 110, it's It's pretty good. If anything, some of the books, no book is favoring the under, but none of them are nearly are favoring the over nearly as much as FanDuel is. So those are a couple for sure. We'll refresh real quickly. Right now, it's kind of a weird time because we don't have a full slate of baseball. Not all the lines for tomorrow have been released, but there's still early action coming out. I took this earlier, under 8. We got Kershaw versus Bailey over tomorrow. The beauty is it doesn't matter who's pitching. Like, I just like to check because it's fun. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no reason why you need to check because the odds are telling you the story. The odds are telling you, like, you can look at the odds and kind of get an idea of who's pitching. So, like, if you saw like a game, let's say 4 years ago, when it was like prime Kershaw against prime Scherzer, you could look at an over-under and it'd be like 6.5 or 6. You'd be like, okay, yeah, it's Kershaw versus Scherzer. Versus when it's like 9.5, you're like, all right, like which 5 starter is playing? Like, it's just, you can kind of base it off the odds. So you don't have to do the research. You don't have to look, oh, is the wind blowing in? Is it blowing out? Like, the books already know that stuff. They know the weather. It's very easy to find out. So they're already pricing that all into their odds when they're releasing them or when they're adjusting them throughout the day or until the game settles or starts. Let's see. Ohtani not having his best day. Oh, well, was a good bet. That's unfortunate. It's the name of the game. Like, you're putting yourself in the best position to make money. But at the end of the day, these guys are going to go out there and they're going to do what they're going to do. And sometimes they're going to have good days. Sometimes they're going to have bad days. It's just, it is what it is. I'll take a look and I'll see what it's. Yeesh. He's given up 4. 1 strikeout. Not great. I don't know if you guys saw the game the other week, but Ohtani, it was against the A's where like there was that 1 inning. He was throwing a no-hitter. And then that 1 inning, he just fell apart and he gave up he gave up like 2 bombs. He hit a guy. He couldn't throw a strike. I don't know if you guys remember that, but since then he hasn't looked as dominant. I know he had a great game. I don't know. He had like 12 Ks at some point. I don't know if that was recent or not, but he just, his ERA is 3.33 now. Obviously a little bit inflated because of today's start, but he hasn't looked as dominant as he has, or he hasn't looked as dominant recently as he did at the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, he had like a 0.5 ERA and looked like, he looked untouchable, like absolutely untouchable. So let's do one more refresh for Andre. Let's see if there's anything else that pops up. Nothing really new. If you want to take an alt, it's decent, but nothing too crazy. We'll go back to the main thing, see if there's any last second bets to hit. Now, the tile one's still there. If you guys have Fliff and you haven't hit this, definitely make sure to do it. This one is really, really good. There's a few players in the league that I like to fade. It just helps me. Like, I'm not going to take it if it's on EV bet, but guys that I just look forward to fading, Jameson Taillon's one of them. Sean Manaea, I will fade him till the day I die. Just the other day or last week or so, I had Nats minus 2.5 against them, plus 360, I think it was. That was no sweat. He's not good. Like, just flat out, he's just not good. But yeah, so I really like that one. When I saw that, my eyes kind of lit up. Took the Michael Wacha one for props. There's a ton of value, especially on these alts. I really like these alts. These alt spreads, alt over-unders on Fliff, FanDuel the night before, Hard Rock, really, really solid books to take them. Now, not every book offers alt totals, alt spreads, stuff like that, but make sure to take advantage of the ones that do because it's insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. I wish I could just calculate my ROI just off of like plays, main market plays 150 and up, plus 150 and up, but considering they have like a 36% hit rate, 38% hit rate, I feel like they're hitting over 50% of the time. I think they actually might be in the last week. It just feels like nothing can go wrong. I had on Sunday, it was Saturday. I had the Mets under 7, like plus 195 or something, or plus 180, or it was something in that range. And then the game got postponed, but the whole rule, like 36 hours, they keep the bet open. If they resume, the bet continues to go. If not, whatever it is. Final score was like 3-2. I didn't even realize the game was going on. And I checked. I was like, oh, like, that's great. And like when a plus 180 hits, it's a great feeling. But you know what? That was the 30-minute mark. I think that's good. I got to get ready. I got my another. So I don't know if you guys know, but I coach a little league team out here in Arizona, and we have our second playoff game. Won the first one yesterday, so got to get ready for that. Hopefully we can get a dub because the team we're playing is pretty good. But anyways, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope I was able to answer your questions. Hope I was able to help you guys out. As always, if you have any questions, just feel free to comment any of my posts. I'm always more than happy to help you guys out or give any advice or tips. I feel like I've been doing this forever now, and It's like I've done every single trial and error, and I've done all that. So that's about it for me. One more thing. Paul, do you recommend just trying to tail as many as possible before being able to afford OddsJam? It's really not a bad idea at all. 90+% of my bets, 99% of my bets, I think are positive EV bets. Every so often, I'll do like an alt strikeout prop where I'm just like, it's Friday, just have some fun. Why not? And see how it goes. But on those, I usually clarify that it's not EV, because on the ones that are, I take a screenshot of where I found it so people see exactly what it is. The biggest thing that I'd suggest for you, Paul, is to pay attention to odds, because if I took a bet at -110 and then it moved to -128, even if it hits, it's not profitable at -128. The only reason I'm taking it is because of the odds, nothing else. It's actually kind of funny, like on Twitter, I don't really get it too often, but you'll have people that go like, I knew this was a bad bet, or like this was terrible, or this and that. And it's like, I never liked the bet. I had no emotion towards the bet. The odds just said it was a good bet, so I took the bet. Like, this is all a volume game. We're not living and dying by one bet, but it sure feels nice when you win. But anyways, that's it for me. I gotta get dressed, gotta get ready. But yeah, so everyone have a great night. Good luck with your bets. Hopefully, Ohtani can turn it around. That'd be a nice way to start off the day. But that's about it for me. So I'll see you guys.